Somewhere in a high-security Pentagon war room, artificial intelligence models flash rapidly. Satellite images, real-time battlefield data, civilian metadata. It is all done by one software, Palantir. This is how war is fought today. You've never heard of a more powerful company with less public accountability. You didn't vote for them, you can't escape them. And yet, they know where you live, who do you talk to, what you Google, and in some cases, what you're about to do next. In 2020, during the peak of the pandemic, Palantir secretly brokered deals with the CDC, the Pentagon, and the NHS, all in the name of public safety. But behind those deals was massive data collection from entire populations without consent. And the man behind this? Not a politician, not a general, but a billionaire tech investor who once said, "I no longer believe freedom and democracy are compatible." That man is Peter Thiel, once a leader of PayPal mafia. Palantir has been quietly rewriting the rules of war, policing, healthcare, and democracy itself. They call it the operating system for the modern world. But some call it the new deep state. So how did a shadowy tech startup backed by the CIA turn into the most controversial surveillance empire of the 21st century? Let's find out. Meet Alex Karp and Peter Thiel, the most unlikely pair in tech history. Peter Thiel, PayPal co-founder, the first outside investor in Facebook, a man who bet against the US dollar during the 2008 financial crisis and won. He wasn't just a tech genius. He was a Silicon Valley insurgent. Then, there was Alex Karp, raised in Pennsylvania, Jewish, neurodivergent, philosophy PhD from Germany, trained in the ideas of Habermas and Foucault. He hated the military. He hated capitalism. He even hated Peter Thiel. And yet, in 2003, Thiel offered him the role of CEO of a new company. Why? Because Thiel didn't need another tech bro. He needed a frontman with academic credentials, global appeal, funded partly by the CIA. Palantir's mission was born out of tragedy. 9/11 had just shattered America's sense of safety. The US government was drowning in data. Thousands of disconnected databases across the FBI, NSA, and military. But no way to connect them. The CIA needed a system to find the needle in the haystack before it exploded. Palantir promised it could do just that. They wanted to make Gotham and Foundry two of the most advanced data integration tools on Earth. It burned millions in venture capital with no sign of profit. And then came a classified opportunity in a foreign war zone. Afghanistan, 2010. It's 2010. Southern Afghanistan. US troops are dying. Not from bullets, but from bombs buried under dirt roads. IEDs, improvised explosive devices. Invisible, unpredictable, lethal. The military had tried everything. Drones, data analysts, legacy software. Nothing worked. And then, Palantir stepped in. Palantir's software, Gotham, fused dozens of classified military data streams into one map. It spotted patterns, flagged high-risk routes, predicted future attacks based on past ones. But there wasn't a heroic welcome. The US Army hated Palantir. They had already sunk billions into their own system, DCGS-A, a clunky, outdated intelligence platform built by military contractors. So, US Army blocks Palantir procurement request. Back home, the company was bleeding cash. By 2013, Palantir had burned over $500 million with no profitable product. Then, Thiel took Palantir's battle to the courts, to Congress, and to the media. Whistleblower reports went public. Army obstructed Palantir access despite soldier requests. And in 2016, the U.S. Army was ordered to open procurement to commercial software. But while Gotham conquered the battlefield, another product, Foundry, was quietly emerging. Built for the private sector, Foundry allowed companies like Airbus, BP, and JP Morgan to do what the government had done: collect, merge, and analyze data on everything, from factory operations to global supply chains to consumer behavior. Companies started to believe that data is the new oil, so it was becoming a global intelligence engine. But the real turning point came in 2020, when the world stopped moving due to COVID-19 and Palantir started tracking everything. With its software, the company helped the CDC allocate PPE, modeled pandemic spread for UK's NHS, and later helped the US government track vaccine logistics. In the chaos of a global pandemic, Palantir was suddenly everywhere. But so were the critics. How did a private tech firm get full access to health records of millions of people? Who approved these deals? Palantir awarded no-bid contract for HHS Protect of $44 million. By 2020, Palantir was no longer just a secret weapon used in classified war rooms. It was now everywhere. In your hospital, in your airport, in your government. Suddenly, every major corporation wanted in. From airlines and automakers to banks and biopharma, Palantir was being deployed to manage supply chains, risk models, production forecasting, and more. Airbus used Foundry to track 70,000 suppliers across 130 countries. Ferrari used it to simulate engine performance. BP used it to monitor oil rigs and reduce emissions. But they weren't alone. The enterprise software market was flooded with giants. IBM had Watson. Salesforce had Einstein. Snowflake was the new Wall Street darling. And yet, none of them could do what Palantir did. Because Palantir wasn't just about data. It was about decision-making. It didn't just tell you what was happening. It told you what to do next. Even the military changed their tune. By 2021, the U.S. Army had awarded Palantir a $823 million contract to replace legacy battlefield systems. The same army that tried to block them 10 years earlier was now relying on them to win wars. In war simulations, Palantir software could model enemy troop movements, drone coverage, weapons supply, and casualty risk in real time. The Pentagon called it Mosaic Warfare. And then came AIP, the Artificial Intelligence Platform. Now, Palantir's software could simulate a trade war, a naval conflict, a nuclear standoff, and recommend actions in seconds. By 2024, Palantir was working with over 40 governments and hundreds of top Fortune 500 companies. Its stock surged. Its contracts multiplied. But what happens when the company tracking terrorists starts tracking civilians? When one click can decide life or death. Stay tuned, because in the next chapter, we expose the lawsuits, scandals, and surveillance programs that Palantir doesn't want you to know. Its Gotham software was used to track undocumented immigrants, connect social ties, and plan raids. One report claimed Palantir's system even flagged children's school addresses as known locations. Dan Goldman. They are building one of the largest, most invasive databases in existence. And there are no checks on what they can do with it. Lawmakers, civil rights groups, and privacy watchdogs launched investigations across the US and Europe. Across the Atlantic, Germany banned Palantir's police surveillance software, citing violations of constitutional privacy laws. In the Netherlands and France, similar actions followed. In the EU, watchdogs called it predictive policing on steroids. Palantir deployed software to simulate battle strategies for Ukrainian forces. The UK Ministry of Defence began using Palantir to track troop movement, ammunition usage, and terrain conditions. It was back in the game. From battle simulations in Taiwan to supply chain crisis modeling to energy rationing across Europe during the 2022 shortages, Palantir became the real-time brain of entire nations. Now it was helping pharmaceutical giants develop vaccines, banks detect fraud, and automakers simulate autonomous fleets. Data was gold, and Palantir was the mint. The company became the unofficial software backbone of the West's defense strategy. Ukraine credited Palantir for its battlefield agility. The UK Ministry of Defence used it to plan logistics for future wars. The US Army awarded another $250 million AI mission planning contract. So, what is Palantir now? A necessary evil? A modern miracle? Or a new empire built on invisible power? It began as a post-9/11 mission to stop terrorists. Today, it's the digital backbone of the Pentagon, the CDC, the NHS, and dozens of Fortune 500 giants. As of 2025, Palantir Technologies commands a market cap nearing $40 billion, over 400 enterprise clients, and contracts in 40-plus countries. If Palantir is now the brain of Western civilization, what happens when that brain makes a mistake? What if it's hacked? What if it's corrupted? Is Palantir a business genius or the most dangerous company in the world? You decide. If this shocked you, imagine how many people still have no idea. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold truths from the world of power, profit, and paranoia.